As we gather here in Pasadena to celebrate the 60th anniversary of COSPAR, we should marvel at the breadth of the scientific discoveries that the world's space programs are yielding. We should marvel how every nation of the world and all aspects of our society are impacted by the research we are conducting in space.
The space age began on the 4th of October 1957 with the launch of Sputnik 1 by the Soviet Union. The United States followed with the launch of Explorer 1 on the 31st of January 1958, and the space race was on. Two nations, sworn enemies in the Cold War, vied for dominance in the new frontier of space, using space to demonstrate their technological prowess. Space soon became a proxy for war. In this era of dangerous geopolitical tensions, there was a clear need for scientists from the USSR and Western nations to interact and exchange scientific results, all with the intention of establishing connections and building trust that would lead to a safer world. So in 1958, the Executive Board of the International Council of Scientific Unions established the Committee on Space Research, COSPAR. Over the ensuing 60 years, COSPAR has evolved into the premier scientific society, encouraging and facilitating international cooperation in space research. In the beginning, consistent with its mission of neutrality between Soviet and Western scientists, COSPAR had two vice presidents, one from the US and one from the USSR. Their concurrence was needed to choose the president.
J'ai assisté à la première assemblée générale du COSPAR à Nice en janvier 1960. Comme un des rares participants français, je pense qu'on devait être 4 sur 168 membres de l'Assemblée. C'était pour moi quelque chose d'extraordinaire de rencontrer 2 ans après le lancement de Sputnik des acteurs qui avaient devant tout le monde entier le plus grand prestige. Mais il s'agissait surtout d'obtenir des résultats.
From the first COSPAR assembly in 1960 in Nice until 1986, presidents from the Netherlands and from France shared this tightrope walk over Niagara Falls.
The decision to have two presidents from the two blocs is no longer valid. Life is easier and we can really deal with scientific problems.
Soviet cosmonaut Titov and US astronaut Glenn and their pretty wives take in the Washington scene. The two space conquerors meet for the first time, and quite naturally, their conversations are out of this world. Titov and Glenn both have speaking dates before the International Committee on Space Research, meeting in Washington.
From its inception, COSPAR was instrumental in enabling international cooperation and dialogue. As time passed, more and more nations developed the capability to conduct scientific research in space. COSPAR needed to treat all nations with the capability to explore and utilize space as equals, serving the aspirations of both developed and developing space programs. In 1986, Sir Ian Axford, a scientist from New Zealand working in Germany, became the COSPAR president. As the Cold War ended, he was able to remove the constraint of having one vice president from the USSR and one from the United States. Axford was followed in 1994 by a German scientist, Gerhard Herrndl.
When I became president, we had other directions to go. And one of the directions was to extend into including the developing nations, helping them to get integrated, also to get more expertise. And so one of the things in COSPAR we decided to do is to help developing nations with a program that we called capacity building workshops.
From 2002 to 2010, Roger Maurice Bonnet took over the presidency of COSPAR.
Many of the ideas which I had to myself lead when I was at the ESA as Director of Science at ESA were born through discussions which were made during the COSPAR meetings. So it's a very important, essential organization as long as it remains scientists, made by scientists for scientists. And if COSPAR maintains this line, I think COSPAR has a very long future.
Today, international cooperation in space research is no longer the exception, but the norm. From attendance ranging from a few hundred to 1,000 before 1982, when COSPAR assemblies became biannual, the number of assembly participants has continued to rise steadily, now reaching over 3,000 scientists. In 2014 in Moscow, an American scientist was elected president for the first time ever.
And we should recognize that the mission of COSPAR is as important today as at any point in our 60-year history. In a world with geopolitical tensions and impediments to international cooperation, there is a clear and present need for our engagement. A clear need for global solutions to problems such as climate change and space weather. A clear need to maximize the resources of the world to undertake major space initiatives. We have many tools available to us with our assemblies and symposium, our roadmaps and publications, our capacity building workshops, and so on. We have the international community of space researchers to draw upon. We have the moral authority, commanding the respect of the leaders of the world's space programs. And we should act on behalf of all humanity in pursuit of a vibrant international space research activity. Thanks very much.